All right, so I applied my value on this cylinder, this sphere, and what I want to do next is this sphere, or cylinder right here that's going sideways, because it's overlapping a few things. I'm going to have to kind of get a better understanding what is happening here. And once you apply the skin on, it will make sense. But there's so many lines that it's confusing me, and I just want to make some clarity for myself down here. And then eventually I will apply value to the geometric forms. They're just not that exciting or fun to do because it's a flat tone, flat tone, flat tone. And I'll do them eventually. So I'm going to give this a start, and then I'm going to fast forward. And I'm looking for my hardest pencil. There it is, 4H. So as I'm looking at this, the first thing I want to realize is that this this plane that's facing me would probably be the darkest plane out of everything, but not super dark. So for example, if I have a rectangle, let me use a softer pencil to do this drawing, or not a rectangle, a cuboid, and I'm applying a value to it, this, and the sun is coming from this direction, this is going to be the number 1 value. This will be a 2 value. This will be a 3 value. On a value scale 1 through 10, that doesn't mean this is 1, 2, and 3. This is basically just the lightest, mid-tone, darkest. How I go about that here is up to me, as long as there's a difference of value as 1, 2, 3. So this plane here, which is a cylinder going on a diagonal, this number 3 plane is facing the same as this number 3 plane. And basically what's going to happen here, it's going to go 1, it's going to be a strip that's going to be about right here. This will be a 2, this will be a 2, this will be a 3, this will be a 4, and this will be a 3. So it basically goes highlight to mid-tone to dark core back to your mid-tone. And I'm calling this a 4 because it might be the darkest, and this might be 4, but that's how it's going to read most likely. All right, that was my soft pencil for showing you. So now I'm back to my hard pencil, and the reason I'm just selecting this first is because I want to better understand how this form wedges into these 3 objects that I have it wedged into, which I figured out while I was doing, but I'm kind of confused now. So this is wedging into this hexagonal prism, and then right here it's wedging into this form, and then right here it's wedging into this form, and then back here it comes back in. So once I apply all the values there, it will make sense. So right now I'm just going to fast forward and make the rest of the video. All right, so far what I've done is I just basically put in 2 light layers, excuse me, of a value on the form that I can see. I also lightened this line that I had there that I didn't lighten before, and it just kind of helped to appear that this is wedged in to this, and this. So you can start to see the wedging taking place now. So now I'm going to step up to my 3H, and I'm going to start to add a value at this bottom section right here. So right here is where there's going to be a core, because I need some room for reflected light. So I'm going to start to add my the core shadow. The core shadow is the darkest part of this cylinder. Since the light's coming from this direction, it's going to hit the top right here. So that's going to be the lightest, the opposite. That would be the highlight, which is the opposite of the core shadow. And between those two is going to be midtones. So the funny thing is that this was a pretty long form, but it's wedged in so many objects right now that it's really not that much of value that I'm applying on. So this shouldn't take for too long to do. And notice I'm rotating my paper each and every time. And when I build up the value, I'm lightly building the value up. I am not applying too much pressure onto the pencil, which forces the value to be darker from the pencil. I'm not doing that. I'm just kind of allowing the hardness of the graphite and just a little pressure from my hand to slowly build the layers and gradually transition the core shadow into the reflected light over here, and then also the midtone as it goes up and around. So you can't tell very much, but I just added a nice layer here. And see if I can do that again with the 3H, and I might just jump up to the 2H in a second. Just trying to fade this part up, which I didn't really do yet. All right, I'm ready for the 2H. Just kind of putting pencils I'm using over here and pencils I will go back to the other pencils eventually. So this is a 2H, and it just shows up a little bit. So I'm probably not going to use this very, very long. Also, one thing I want to make note is that that plane that's facing me, again, I said it was going to be one of the darker values. So I'm going to have to hit that again soon. I'm just kind of focusing on this gradual shifting tone right now. I think I'm going to hit a value on the front now. And I skipped a pencil, which is not a big deal because these are so close in hardness that for this front part here. It's not a big deal. All right, now I'm going to jump up to my H and see what happens here. So I'm going to hit this guy first. And remember when I was talking about breaking this down into strips, this little part here is kind of what I'm working on around down here. And I'm trying to fade it back up. Also, if you apply too much value or too much pressure, you're going to make striations. You don't want to do that. Let's keep going. And this might be enough. I'm getting closer to getting that slightly darker area. So far so good. I might add another tone to it, just it's such a big form that I think it might need just one more softer pencil, layer of a softer pencil. That's what I meant by one more tone. So that means I'm going to go up to my HB. Yeah, I think I just need one more. So I'm going to go to my HB. I just don't want to bring it too dark where it starts to compete with these guys and then I have to make those dark. Making more work for myself. All right, so the one thing that I haven't done was put a darker tone right here. Not darker, but just like a mid to light tone. And the reason why that's important is because that's it's going to make the highlight look lighter. So in order to make something look lighter, you have to put something darker next to it. All right. Getting there. I'm going to go back to my hard pencil. Actually, I'm going to go to a 2H right now. And I'm going to fade this part in right here. I brought that HB up a little too far, and I need to kind of fade it in with this. And then right now I'm going to take this 2H and I'm going to also apply another layer on this side. In both directions. And this is what I'm talking about, that by applying a value there, it starts to make a nice highlight right here. Because it's just a little bit darker on the right hand side. And that makes that part feel volumetric. And so you can see a reflected light, you can see a highlight, you can see a core shadow, and you can see the transition between all three. So I'm happy with that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my HB and I'm going to hit this front plane, which should be just one flat tone. I'm going to hit this maybe once or twice and just see what comes from it. You can see this tone I'm putting in now, it's getting a good deal darker, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, I'm going to do one more direction in this direction here. Or one more layer, one more direction. And it's important that this tone is darker than the highlight, which is right here. So I'm okay with this at the moment. I could probably use just a little bit more, one more layer of dark here. It's such a big form that I think it would benefit from a little bit more contrast. Or range, I guess, is the better term. If you ever need to erase an area or start over, not start over, but like you put too much down or you just can't work it too much, you can always get a kneaded eraser. Of course, I don't have one right now, but you can get a kneaded eraser and lighten it up. You just put it into the, yeah, I've been touching this the whole time. You can put it into any shape you want, and then you can just drag it up and down or whatever direction you want to along and subtract just a little bit of graphite. Some people dab. And it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be enough where you can get off what you need, and then you go back and kind of fix it with everything. Or fix it with your pencils. All right, I think we are there. All right. I'm happy with that at the moment. And on to the next. I thought I was finished, but I actually lied. I took out my F pencil. An F pencil is one step softer than HB. And I'm just kind of going in there, and I can still see my transparent lines, and that's all I care about. And I'm still trying to just create this dark tone. It's such a big form, and it plays a major role in the composition, so I don't really want to stop short of getting that sense of volume from applying value. So I'm taking this as far as I can, and you can kind of see that as I'm applying the layers. You don't really see any striations. You don't see any pencil marks. You just see an even gradual tone of value transitioning from one area to another. All right, so I worked there, I gotta work down here now. Another little trick, I probably showed you this in something else, but eventually I'm going to have to apply value into this form here, but I'm going to take my eraser, put it right over the blue line that I had there, and I'm going to erase just one stroke, clean it off, and that just cleaned off that little section, and I retained the line that I had there, and I use a big thing. Or a big eraser, but it's nice if you use a printing paper because it's really thin, low profile, and it's not going to do anything. I just noticed that my fingers were touching this when I was working on that guy. I wasn't even paying attention, and I made little smudges all over the darn thing. So it's really important that you use a paper sheet and lean your hand on it and prevent your fingers from doing what I did. And I'm mad at myself because not only did I do this, but it takes some of the value off of there, and I have to go back and hit that again. I don't want to do that.